Hello everyone. Now we're going to start with the main topic, that is features of Java 8. Okay, in the previous topics I had just explained you about what is a simple Java and how Java is very useful for us. Now we will see the features of Java 8, that what is actually Java 8. Okay, so as we're going to see over here, first features, okay, for each method in iterable interface. That means we get for each method in iterable interface. Default and static method in interfaces. That means we get a default and a static method in interfaces. Functional interfaces and lambda expressions. Okay, we get functional interfaces and lambda expressions. Java Stream API for bulk data operations on collections. Java Time API, collection API improvements, concurrency API improvements, Java IO improvements, miscellaneous core API improvements. Okay, so these are your features of Java 8. Now let us study each and every feature in a little bit detail. So first one is for each method in irritable interfaces. Whenever we need to transfers through a collection, we need to create an iterator whose the whole purpose is to iterate over, and then we have business logic in which loop for each of the elements in the collection. We might get concurrent modifier exception if iterator is not used properly. That means suppose if I have a vast collection of data, okay, if I have a collection in Java, collection means array, hash map, and etc etc. Okay, so suppose if I tell you right now, okay, that is that if we create a array list, okay, if we create an array list and I want all the data to be displayed, so I will use a method called as for each. For each means each and everything in the loop. That means we have learned while, do while, and for loop. Now we have one more loop, that is called for each loop. For each statement is used, that means we get each and every condition. We don't have to apply condition over here. So if we don't apply this iterator correctly, we get concurrent modifier exception. Okay, we will get an error. So how to resolve the error? So to resolve the error, Java 8 has introduced for each method in java.language.iterable interfaces, so that while writing the code, we focus on business logic only. For each method takes Java util function consumers dot object as argument, so it helps in having a business logic and a separator location that we can reuse. Okay, so Java 8 has introduced a for each method in java.language.iterable interface. That means we have to import a package called as Java import java.language.iterable. Okay, so that we are writing the code, we can focus on business logic only. So let us see how this feature works first. Okay, then we will go to next options or next examples. Okay, you can see over here there is a package name is for each. Okay, now what you have to do is import java util.arraylist. So we import arraylist over here, then import java util.iterator, import java util.list, import java util.function.consumer, and input java language.integer. Now what does this function do? So array list is what? Collection of multiple lists. Now how we know array? Array is collection of similar data type. So array list is also collection of similar data type. Only you get differences if I take array, suppose int num is equal to new int, and then we have to declare the size. This is how we declare the array. But once we are creating an array list, that means we are declaring the size also. But then over here, once we come over here, so array list li is equal to new. That's it. You don't need to declare any size in array list, because see, once we created an array will declare a size, so that much size has to be run, or that much size has to be used. But while using an array list, there is nothing such kind of issues. So what we have to do, we have to create an array list iterator list, for that consumer, functional consumer, and integer. Now over here, public class java 8 for each language. In that list, integer, my list is equal to new array list, and data type is what? Integer. We have took the data type as integer now. For int I equals to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. That means from 0 till 9, whatever data is there will store in mylist.add. So 0 to 9 numbers are storing. Iterator integer it is equal to my list dot iterator, because this is an integer data type, so we have to take a iterator. Now we are calling all the values, so we are with the help of iterator. If we want to use the iterator, while it dot has next, that means whatever iterator now data has been stored from my list, so that's 0 to 9, if it is having a next value, then only go next. If it is not having, let it be. So integer I is equal to it, and then it is displaying the first value, second value, third value, fourth value according. So if I run this file for only for this, you can see iterator 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, but then I have given you right now that Java 8 has for each example. So how to use a for each? So using for that my list dot for each, that means in my list, that is a array list, in that for each, that means loop that each data with new consumer and integer. And in this, when we create a new consumer value now, we get method. This method is public void accept, and accept method will be giving you for each anonymous till value t, and we are creating the consumer over here, and we are giving the for each action. Class my consumer implements consumer and public void accept. If you want to see how many lists are there in the consumer, just click over here and in this green one. So in the functionality, if you have public interface consumer now, you can use void accept, return a composed code that consumer performs in sequence list operation followed by the code operation. If performs other operation throws an exception, it also relay to the caller the compose operation. If perform this operation throws an exception. That means what it will do, it will return a composed that performs in sequence. That means it will take the value from each loop and it will perform in a sequence. If it is performing, well and good. If it is not, then it will throw you directly an exception. Okay, parameters according to the parameter data type, and see default consumer t and then consumer t super keyword. Okay, so there will be only one method which we have to implement over here, so that's why we implement this method over here. And then afterwards we have called consumer implement value, and we have called the implement value. So consumer implement value, for each anonymous value. Okay, you can use the for each method, or you can use the consumer implement value. So there will be three methods for using for each statement.